Hey everyone, welcome to Hammerhead Hobbies. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to do some quick and easy panel lines. Alright, welcome back. What I have here is a fuselage from an F-86, and it's got raised panel lines and hatches here, and I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to accentuate those panel lines so they stick out after the final paint. Now I have the compressor set at 18 pounds, and I have my airbrush to a thin setting. Now this is fairly simple, so you just grab your airbrush and you follow the panel lines that are there right now. Now you don't have to be super accurate or super straight, you just kind of have to follow the lines and make it as thin as you can. And as you can see here, you can kind of basically see the shape of all the panel lines, and I'm even going over the raised rivets. As you can see here, I'm a little thick on it, but I'm not getting as close as I should, just so I can demonstrate to you how I use the airbrush. And again, don't be scared if it's not perfectly straight. We can kind of fix that up when we're doing our paint colors and shading. And there you have it. So just a simple little technique that I use. And those are the panel lines. Now it looks very messy right now, but we're going to go ahead and give it its final color and show you how this looks. Now that we let the painted panel lines dry, we're going to go over it with some gray, just to smoothen out the panel lines and make it look realistic. Now I go over it several light coats instead of heavier coats. Again, we'll do one full coat just to soften the lines. You can see how the lines have softened already. Now I'm going to give the other side a paint also, just to compare the two sides and to see the difference between the two sides. Okay, I'll let this dry for a little bit. I'm going to do another coat. Now this one, I'm going to get a little more detailed. Let's see if I can thin out these panel lines. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to spray in between and just thin them out slightly. There are some spots where they blotched, which is fine, and especially even inside of one of these panels and in between the rivets. I can just go very lightly. Now this does take a little bit of time. Now again, don't be worried about putting too much paint. You can always darken it up again. And you can go over as many times as you want to get the effect that you want. Sometimes you want a darker panel line for more weathered look, and sometimes you want just a slighter variation just to give it a little bit of shadow and a dimension. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to give it another coat. Alright, coming back to it again. And again, I'm using a light gray paint that's thin 50-50 with thinner. And if you're going to do this for a prolonged period of time, I also use a retardant just so my paint doesn't dry. It's an acrylic paint. Acrylics tend to dry pretty quickly. And I like to do this in multiple coats. Just if I try to do it one big thick coat, I might cover too much up at one time and not get the effect I'm looking for. Okay, so I've given this a couple of coats right now, and it's giving me a really nice effect. I don't know if you can see this in the light. I can definitely see the panel lines. I can definitely see a contrast in the paint where the panel lines are. And if I were to show you the other side where I just use straight paint without doing any panel lines, you can see how plain that is. It just doesn't look as realistic as going over here, and then you can see the panel lines. And again, this is heavy still, I would probably do this another coat just to lighten it up a little bit. Just gives it the basic effect of weathering. Okay, and that's a nice and simple way to do simple panel lines. It's fast, it's easy, and it does the job quite nicely. So this is, again, a very simple way to give dimension to your model.